Hey, what it do, y'all? It's your boy E2 Blue coming back at you again on this Wednesday, this hump day. It's snowing outside today, and well, it just started, but you know, we've been praying for snow, but it's like for years it's been mild here in the DMV, but now all of a sudden we getting it, and everybody's still complaining. But you can't make people happy. You know how that goes. But anyway, in this segment, I wanted to talk about the free agent cornerbacks that are supposedly going to be available this offseason. Now, some of these guys, just like with any team, because we got free agent guys too. We got a lot of our secondary that's in need of another contract too, as well. So whether we keep them or they go off to another team, we don't know. Um, I already know how a lot of you guys feel about some of our secondary guys, especially Xavier Woods. I know you guys want him out of there, so I'm not gonna talk too much about that. But as far as free agent guys that are not on the Cowboys' current roster right now that they could potentially pick up, if not, if their teams don't decide they want to up their contracts, that is. So these are just on the bucket list, on the wish list, whatever you want to call it. Now, there's at least one person on here that every one of you guys will want at least. And then there's gonna be guys on here you're like, nah, hell no, I don't want that guy. Um, and I'm just gonna talk about some of the key notable guys that are out there, and then I got an honorable mention as well. Okay, so let's start with the top one, Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson, which currently plays for the Arizona Cardinals. We know how his career was: Pro Bowl player, um, been a nice solid guy. He was considered a shutdown corner earlier in his career. Now he's just a solid guy. When these guys get a little older, they take a step back here and there. But I mean, he's still a good guy. He's still a good veteran to come in and provide depth on your team, and still could be a starter. Now we don't know what the dollar amount for him is going to be, so uh, that's neither here nor there. But Patrick Peterson definitely one of the top guys in the cornerback free agency market for this season. Arizona could decide that they want to re-up his contract, but we'll see. Richard Sherman, San Francisco 49ers. Now, this particular one we've already been talking about ever since the Cowboys hired Dan Quinn. Richard Sherman has definitely been a guy on the radar. He's a guy that has been in Dan Quinn's system when he was the defensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks, and he talks about how much he loves Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman, we know that he's going to hit free agency for sure this year, so it's possible the Cowboys can reach out to get him on a veteran minimum contract for his last contract because Richard Sherman already said himself he wants to play 2 more seasons. So could those 2 more seasons be with the Dallas Cowboys? They could get him a small, 2-year contract, and but that doesn't stop you from getting cornerbacks in the draft. You wanna draft these guys, get young guys in here, but you also need veterans on the team too to help out with Trayvon Diggs and this, because what you don't want is a team full of rookie and young DBs, because you want some veteran presence out there to help these guys in coverage and things of that nature on certain things that they've never seen before in the NFL. And that's why you need a balance of both. So I think Richard Sherman fits that bill. Get him in there, be a rotational guy, come help these guys with Dan Quinn's defense, and you know do what they need to do to proceed and get better. So Richard Sherman is definitely one guy that I think that can be there. Like I said, he's not that doesn't stop you from getting young guys. Still get young guys. He's just a bridge player. He's a guy that is going to come in and help out with the young guys and provide depth for you. That's what he's there for. And Richard Sherman, even though he took a step back after his Achilles injury, he's still good enough to go out there in coverage and do what he needs to do. You know what I'm saying? He's not the same Richard Sherman of Seattle's. Neither is Earl Thomas, obviously. But at the same time, at least having Richard Sherman on your team, helps the young guys, and he'd be a good rotational player, if not somebody to help start for you, because you do need veterans out there as well. Josh Norman. Now, y'all already know how I feel about Josh Norman. I really don't bang with him too much. It's been a lot of hype on him when he first came out, when he was drafted in the 5th round to Carolina Panthers. But after that, it is what it is. But I will say this. He was with Buffalo. He did all right with them. I didn't really, hear much from him. I guess that's a good thing when you don't hear their name being called. But it's a no for me for Josh Norman. But I just put him on there because he's out there. Jason McCourty, New England. Um, Definitely New England cornerback Jason McCourty. I think he's been with them for I think the most of his career, if not all of it. But you know, you look at the safety play and the cornerback play, just the secondary in general from New England. Most of those guys are good. They're solid veterans. Any veteran that I think that you get from New England is going to be good in my opinion because you know the way that they play over there, they're a very disciplined team. So those veterans come over with that discipline, and it helps out. Now I don't know what he's going to cost you, but again, he's definitely a veteran body. Now this one you guys probably remember Terence Mitchell. Terence Mitchell. Remember we had Terence Mitchell. I think he was an undrafted. Did we? No, no. We drafted Terence Mitchell in the seventh round. I think back in 2014. I think. But I don't know if y'all remember Terrence Mitchell. We drafted him. He was with the team for like one off season, and then he ended up going to the Bears after we cut him when the roster cuts came down. The Cowboys didn't end up keeping him because I think he was immature at the time, and he just wasn't focused. Good player, but he just wasn't focused, and I don't think the Cowboys wanted to put any put any effort into a guy that was just immature like that. So they didn't give him an opportunity. Now he did go to the Chicago Bears, but now he's with Cleveland Browns. So he's had a decent career. If you look at his stats, he's up there with some of the other veteran guys that are solid. I'm not talking about the top tier, but he's been solid. Now I don't know if he tore his jaws with the Cowboys. I don't know if they're gonna would look to get him because he definitely be a cheap option if you want a bargain bin cornerback. He'd definitely be that. But I feel like if you're gonna bring anybody back, I think they need to go back and get Ha Clinton Dix because I think Ha Clinton Dix will play good under Dan Quinn. And again, you don't have Mike Nolan here, so I don't think that same issue is going to be there. Xavier Rhodes. Now we know that he played with the Vikings for all of his career, but now he's with Indianapolis Colts. He's in their secondary, three-time Pro Bowler, All Pro, All Team, All Pro, whatever they call it, All Team, All Pro guy. Xavier Rhodes, he's definitely fit the bill. He's definitely had a really good career in the front half. Now these past 2 years, he's been on the downslope. That's because again he's what 31, 32 at this point. So these guys, especially cornerbacks and stuff. Sometimes they lose a step. Sometimes they're not as good as coverage, as they were before. But I mean, he's still a good corner. It's not like he's bad. It's just that you could get these guys for cheaper. Some of these guys that were former, great guys, you could get them for a little cheaper price because of the simple fact that they're on the downstroke of their career. They're on their final contracts, like Richard Sherman and Patrick Peterson. So he's in that category of the top tier guys. Ronald Darby, he's been moving around different teams. And he was with the Washington team this past season. Now he's had an all right career. I wouldn't say that he's great, but definitely he could be probably a cheap option for you as well. Um, Not bad, but definitely better than what we have on this team. Rashad Breeland. We know that he was drafted to originally to Washington. He was with Kansas City these past couple of years, so he has a Super Bowl with them, and he was in this past Super Bowl just the other day with Kansas City as well. His contract is up with them. He's an option. I'm not really a fan of Rashad Breeland. I think that um, he plays good depending on what the scheme is. If the scheme fits his style, he's going to play better. I think that he played much better with Kansas City than he did Washington because again, it's the scheme. And I tell you guys all the time, don't judge these players all the time by some of the teams that they played on because sometimes it just wasn't a good scheme fit. And I think with him, that was the issue. It was a scheme fit thing. So that's an option as well. You could probably get him off the humble as well. Vernon Hargraves. He was a high draft pick earlier in his career. He plays for Houston currently, and his contract is up as well. Now Houston will probably re-sign him, but we'll see. I don't, with the Texans, I don't know what they're doing over there. They got a lot of issues, especially with Deshaun Watson. So they got to figure that out. This is an intriguing one right here because he's 6'3", and he was. I remember when he was first drafted, he was talked about. Kevin King, the tall 6'3" cornerback out of Green Bay. He's played for Green Bay his whole career. Um, had a very good, solid career. That he definitely be a guy that you can fit on this defense because again, tall corner, somebody can help high point the ball and knock that ball down from the receiver. So that should be intriguing for the Cowboys, but I don't know how much Kevin King is going to cost you. And Green Bay might decide they want to bring him back again and just let him stay there his whole career, like he's been. Uh, Next one I have is Drake Kirkpatrick. Now, Drake Kirkpatrick, he played for the Bengals for a long time. Now he's with Arizona Cardinals over there with Patrick Peterson. Now, he's definitely had a solid career as well. He's I think he has 83 pass deflections and things of that nature, and he can play guys in the slot too. He can play. He's good at defending tight ends. So that's definitely an option as well. Last one I have on the list is Travarius Ward. Now Travarius Ward because we had him on the Cowboys. Undrafted his rookie season. Cowboys didn't even give him an opportunity, even though he showed promise. They ended up using him as trade bait to get an offensive lineman from Kansas City that didn't even they got injured and didn't even bust a grape with the Cowboys. So the Kansas City got the better end of that deal because Travarius Ward played really good with them and he was eventually a starter. Um, because I think that whenever they ran their defense, with three starting cornerbacks, he was one of those three starting guys. And remember, this guy was undrafted, so young, scrappy guy. He reminds me of Trayvon Diggs the way that he plays. So he's coming up in free agency now. Will Kansas City bring him back? I don't know, but that might be an opportunity for the Cowboys to finally bring him back and quell some of the mistakes that they made by letting him go in the first place. Now, even though that was my last one on my list, I will say an honorable mention. And the reason why I was talking about this one is because of Dan Quinn. Keanu Neal. Keanu Neal, drafted in the first round for the Falcons. He's been with them his whole career. He had a couple of years of injuries, but after that, he showed really good promise and why he was drafted where he was drafted. I'm not sure if he was 17th overall back when he came out, but either way, but he definitely be a good addition to this secondary if the Falcons don't re-sign him. I think that he'll be good with the Cowboys with Dan Quinn again, like a Richard Sherman type guy, can help out with these young guys because he knows what he's doing, and a guy that could go help compete. Because I'm telling you, this team needs some scrappy guys in the secondary, and we need some defensive tackles to help hold up those that inside so we don't get run on all day. And that's really all you need on defense. Now, I did a video already on the defensive tackles because again, we talked about there's not many defensive tackles in the draft. There's a few of them, but you may not be able to be in a position to get them. So with that being said, that's all I got now. Let me know what you guys think about some of these free agent cornerbacks that I spoke of. And hey, if there's another free agent cornerback that I didn't speak of on this list, let me know. Is there anybody that you desire for the Cowboys to possibly get when free agency starts in March? But in the meantime, between time, it's your boy E2 Blue. Like, share, comment. It's your boy E2 Blue. Always keeping it real.